5 steps I would tell you to do in order for you to find the right printer for you. Hello and welcome back to the Dream Printing Podcast. I am so glad you're here today. If we haven't met before, I'm Polly Payne, the CEO and founder of Horacio Printing. I have sold over 47,000 dream planners around the world, and I'm excited to kind of pull back the curtain and talk to you a little bit about running a planner business. You're in the middle of a series called Planner Business 101. Teaching you a little bit about what it looks like to run a planner business and some of the basics and key questions I get a lot, both in my Facebook group, via email, and also on our YouTube channel. These are questions we get all the time. My last episode of this series, episode 207, was all about timelines. How long does it take? When should I launch? When do I get started? We talked about timelines on the last episode, and today we're talking about printers. Finding the right printer. It's like finding the right husband. It's a big deal. When you find your match and you figure it out and you start to work together and you build a working relationship, it's scary. I'll be honest, finding the right printer can be really scary, especially if you're buying in bulk. If you're buying 500, 1,000, 2,000, you're about to have 8 pallets of products show up in your garage. You want to make sure that you are working with someone trustworthy. When you're wiring over thousands of dollars, it can be scary, especially the first time. So I'm going to talk to you about how to go about finding a printer and also what the other printing options are, because it matters. You have found this video or this podcast episode because you want to print with excellence. If you're anything like me, you're a paper snob. Are you a paper snob? Is it just me? I am a hardcore paper snob. Thick luxury paper is my love language. When I was in sales and marketing before I started Horacio Printing, I started Horacio in 2014. We're coming up on our 10th birthday. But when I started Horacio Printing in 2014, I was in sales. And one thing that I loved is like sketchbooks. And I would take big, giant sketchbooks to all of my sales meetings to take notes on. And people were like, what are you doing with this big sketchbook? And I don't know if any of you guys listening are artists, but it's like that brown sketchbook with the image of the woman on front. It's almost like thick, textured watercolor paper. And I would just say, I like thick paper. I can't stand taking notes and it bleeds through and all of that. And that's why I ended up making my own planner down the road. Not the only reason, but one of the reasons was because I wanted it to be excellent and beautiful and thick quality paper. I cared about the product and I'm a paper snob. I wanted it for myself as well. And as a woman of faith, this is also really important to me. I think like when I started my business, I wanted to have a Christian planner. And what really bugs me is when people, maybe bugs isn't the right word, but when people give so much grace for things being really subpar and not good because it's Christian, where you're like, you hear somebody say, oh, I saw this great movie, you should watch it. Oh, is it good? Yeah, it's Christian, so it's going to be a little B actors, C actors. And then that's just silly to me. They're like, oh, well, she published it, but it's a Christian novel. It's a Christian journal. Like, give her grace that it's not good. No, if it's Christian, it should be excellent. And I'm not saying we should get stuck in perfectionism and not move forward and say, okay, well, I don't have a perfect solution, so I'm just not going to create my thing or move forward with my thing. I'm not talking at all about perfectionism. I'm talking about excellence and making something really beautiful where it truly makes an impact and it's inspiring also to the secular world, and we're able to infiltrate the secular world. There's a lot of people carrying my planner to work, carrying my planner on a bus, and it's beautiful and it's inspiring, and there's scripture on every page. And I've heard so many stories about people, oh, I had this open on my desk at the office and somebody walked by and noticed and we talked about it and they saw the scripture and then we started talking about scripture, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, that's what I want. I want people of all sorts of religion and background, and maybe they don't know God yet. I want everybody to feel inspired by the products I create. That's what drives me. And if you're watching this, potentially you've been looking for the right printer for your journal, planner, devotional, and you're like, yeah, I want to get it printed. Maybe you've already started building something. Maybe you already have something. You're selling it in a digital format, or you have printed it out with a print on demand and you're like, this is not it. And I feel you, or maybe you've done Amazon KDP and you're like, this is not it. I need to figure out how to get this done right. We just had a print school student recently on the podcast, actually, Bethany Kimsey. I'll link the episode below. But she had a publisher that she was going to work with. Sorry if you couldn't hear me on the mic. She had a publisher she was going to work with to get this printed. It's her Warrior Mama Prayers. She's a part of our print school. And she had a vision for what she wanted. And she was like, I knew if I worked with a publisher, I wasn't going to be able to, if you guys can hear it, ASMR. The linen on this is really nice. It's also very durable. But she's like, I knew I wouldn't be able to get what I wanted. I wanted it to be like a beautiful nightstand book, almost like a coffee table book, something just really beautiful, but also serene and peaceful and simple and like clean. She's like, I wouldn't have been able to work with a publisher and get this. And this is what I wanted. And she said, and God told me to wait. And then all of a sudden he told me to come to print school. So it's stuff like that where I'm like, this is what I'm talking about right here is you want to make something excellent because you care, you know what quality looks like. And if you're going to put something out there, you want it to be high quality. And you know what's great about that? When you put something out there that you're really proud of, it's a lot easier to sell it. It's a lot easier to talk about it. You're not as shy because there's no embarrassment. It's exciting. It's beautiful. And anyways, so digital is fine, but paper is the way to go, in my opinion. We actually just launched our digital planner yesterday. Fun fact, I guess I'm not doing a very good job selling it. I'm just not a digital planner girl. I'm excited to try something new. We do have our digital planner in the shop if you want to check it out, horacioprinting.com. But I'm a paper girl. So we're talking about printing in this episode anyway. So here's what I see happening a lot for people who are looking for a printer. Maybe this is you have the idea, you want to print something, and then you search. You're looking for the right printer. You're looking for maybe a template or a publisher. You don't know what to do next. And what you're looking for, and I know this because I've talked to so many people on this journey, you're looking for what I call the magicalprinter.com. It's this unicorn out there that you're searching for that spits out beautiful, high quality products. It can recreate your unique vision that's in your brain. It can produce something super high quality like this journal that Bethany did in print school. You want something inexpensive so you can actually turn a profit on it. And you want someone to hold your hand while you make it. And you're looking for magicalunicornprinter.com. And I'm not here to break your hearts, but the magical unicorn printer doesn't exist. It doesn't. But there are solutions. That's what I'm going to teach you about today. Usually as I see people going down, I call it like the Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole. When they start going down this Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole looking for the magical unicorn printer, they come up with more questions like, when do I order a sample? How do I order a sample? Do I need print ready files? Do I need to redesign this? Do I have print ready files? Like, what's the paper like? How do I know it's going to be perfect? Am I going to have to make this by hand? And this is where we get to. And so I want to talk to you about the different rabbit holes you might have fallen into and what your different options are for printers. And then my recommendation for you to find the perfect printer for you. So there's basically two worlds here. I'm going to show you the one world and then the other. Okay. Here's the first world. Okay. This is called print on demand. Print on demand. If you're watching on YouTube, you see I have a list here in my hand. These are all the print on demand options you have. You can go to Staples. You can go to Kinkos. You could use Amazon KDP. You could go to Zazzle, Lulu's, Blurb, Vistaprint, and maybe you already have. You've gone to these websites. You're like, ooh, custom planner, and you Google it, and like these companies pop up. When you start to do your research, you start to realize, ooh, they're really expensive. It's not actually custom. They're not giving me the binding I want. Maybe you're not able to find the gold coil you want. You're not able to find the tabs you want, or the elastic strap, or the cloth bag. Like I keep all my planners in a beautiful cloth bag. So you're not able to find all those options. You get kind of frustrated. Well, here's the other option. You have the print on demand, and I'm going to talk more about these. You also have this option called traditional printers. Traditional printers. And these guys are the big guys. Example of two North American printers are Hemlock, which is a great printer, and another one is called Baker and Taylor. It's another great printer in the US. And then overseas printers, there's a bunch of them. I mean, they're in China, they're in Thailand, they're in Korea, they're in Vietnam, the Philippines. There's all sorts of traditional printers. A lot of them are largely in China. Okay, so these are the two options. We've got print on demand, and we've got these traditional printers over here. So let me talk to you about the pros and cons so you can figure out which one makes the most sense for you. So for print on demand, what print on demand has, print on demand has is templates. They do have templates. Typically, when I go to these print on demand websites and look, they'll have like, oh, you want to make a journal? Here's a journal, and it already has lines inside, and you can add your custom cover, but it's just going to be art paper on cardboard. It's not going to be linen or leather or like something luxury. The customization is weak. It's just weak. They only have certain standard sizes, or you can't fit that many pages, or you can't customize the pages inside for some of these. The other problem with these print on demand is quality. Like especially Amazon KDP, it's great if you're self-publishing a novel. If you're writing a book, go Amazon KDP, go. But if you're trying to make like a luxury journal or a devotional or a planner, Amazon KDP is just not the way to go. The quality is low, the binding's low. A lot of these companies, it's like, plastic coil bound, or, what's the other one? Just like glued in to where it doesn't lay flat. And here's the biggest problem with print on demand. They're way too expensive. The price is way too expensive for you to even sell it and make any profit. The other problem is they don't really help you. Like it's usually a SaaS platform, which is self-service basically, where you have to do it yourself. And there isn't a ton of hand-holding. If you've ever printed something off, like maybe you took a course online and they gave you a workbook and you went and printed it off, you're probably surprised at how expensive it was to go print at Staples and Kinkos. Like when I get my sample printed of my planner at Staples so I can edit it and send it to my editors, I mean, it's anywhere between $38 and $70. It's crazy. So that's the issue, in my opinion, with print on demand. You can get something done, but you're not going to have a sustaining business. And that's my goal for you, is for you to make an impact, to finally birth the thing that you've been holding onto on the back burner for so long, but to love it. And it's exactly what your vision is. And you can actually make money. Like you can make a good amount of money. So let's talk about traditional printers. This is what I use. I use traditional printers. Here's the beauty of traditional printers. They do any customization you want for the most part. Overseas printers will do any customization that you want. In the US, you might have trouble finding the customization you want, like tabs, and things like that. We did have a print school student. I'm actually going to link her review right here so you can see it. She was going to work with a US printer, and I think it was going to cost her around like $28 or more, or maybe it was like $37 a unit. And when she came into print school and she connected with our printer, she was able to get it down to like $7 or less a unit, which is amazing. So the good news about traditional printing, which is why I use it, is they can do whatever you tell them to do. And the quality can be there because you tell them what you want. The size, the paper thickness, the bells and whistles, you call the shots with a traditional printer. The problem is they don't really hold your hand. You need to know the language. You need to know how to talk to them, especially if you're dealing with an overseas printer, because They have different metric systems than we do when it comes to paper. They're not, using 60 LBS, they're using 120 GSM. They're just using a different system. The other thing with traditional printers is they don't have templates. You have to deliver the print ready file to them, the cover art, the inner pages, the binding, like the spine art, if you have, something you want in the spine. And the pricing can be different if you're using North America versus overseas. Obviously, or maybe not obviously, but overseas is a lot cheaper, even with the cost to import. So that's why I go with traditional printers and I go with ones overseas. That's how I go about it. But I want to talk to you a little bit about my journey and be just really upfront and transparent with the costs. So here's the journey I went on. Okay, my first year, 2014, I had the dream to make my planner. And I actually have a copy of it right here for those of you on YouTube, because I think it's fun to see. So this was the first planner that I ever had, our 2015 planner. It was really beautiful. The paper was super thick. Oh my gosh, the design has come a long way since this first year. But it was really beautiful. I loved it. It had a art paper on the front and back. So obviously our planner has changed quite a bit when it comes to size, quality, all the things. Okay, so I worked with a traditional printer in North America, and to get 1,000 of these printed was $28. And that was almost 10 years ago, so I don't even know what this would cost to get done. You can see no tabs, no beautiful coil, this is a beautiful coil, but it's not gold coil, no corners, soft cover, and it didn't come with anything else, right? Now, working overseas, or the second year that I printed, I was able to get something somewhat closer to this style. I think it was around $7 each at the $2,000 mark, or maybe it was, $7 at the $1,000 and $5 at the $2,000 mark. Now, my second year, I didn't have the gold corners. Second year, I didn't have the elastic strap. And the second year, I didn't have the tabs. So pricing changes depending on quantity, materials, and all of that. But that just gives you a ballpark to understand and you can run with. And also, my thickness of paper is super, super thick. So that was my journey. And basically, the first year, I got this planner made. It was $28 each. I had to fork up the money up front. We were able to sell out, which was amazing. But I didn't have enough money the next year to buy my next round of inventory. And that's why I went with an overseas printer. And the next year I was able to kickstart the money I needed to buy 2,000 planners and continue to grow the business. And that's what I teach inside of print school, is how to do a Kickstarter so that you can raise the money to buy your products upfront. So this is the 5 steps I would tell you to do. If you're taking notes, now's the time to grab your notebook. 5 steps I would tell you to do in order for you to find the right printer for you. And I'm going to give you some action items after I tell you the 5. The first thing you want to do when it comes to finding the right printer is research. Do your research. And maybe you're like, I've already done my research, Polly. I'm so tired of research. You got to do your research and come up with a list of vendors that you want to reach out to. That's step 1, okay? Step 1, vendors you want to reach out to. Step 2, ask for a specific quote. The next step is for you to actually email them, reach out to them and say, hey, I need a quote. And then you give them the absolute specifics of exactly what you want. You want 300 units for a journal with linen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How many pages is in your product? Do you want color printing? Do you want tabs? Like what bells and whistles? As specific as possible so that they can give you an estimate up front and you can compare the printers. That's your second step, is ask for a specific quote. Get ready? Step 3 is get a sample made. I think that will be on my tombstone. Always order a sample. Always order a sample. Always order a sample. Always order a sample. And when you get your sample in the mail, what's so exciting is you can actually start marketing it. You can start playing around with it and you can understand what you want to change about it. Now, the 4th step after you get your sample is you'll probably go back and forth with the printer of your choice tell them what you want to change. Maybe you want to edit something or tweak something or different coloring, or maybe you didn't like the feel of the material on the cover, whatever it is. And then the fifth step is to order your products. That's the 5 steps to truly finding a printer, making it work. Do your research, ask for a quote, get your sample made. You pay for your sample. You'll go back and forth with that printer about the sample until it's to your liking, and then you'll order your mass order. And then after it is done printing, you will import it. So let me tell you about these 5 steps again and what you get if you want to join my program, because my goal is for you not to waste your time, because time is precious. Time is money. You might have kids at home, a full-time job. When I was starting Horacio Printing, I had a full-time job. This was like my at night and on the weekend thing until I was a year and a half in, and I was able to fully quit my job after my first 50K month. And it was like, okay, now I can quit my job. And so I know what it's like when you really want to make every moment count when you're working on your side hustle. So this is the 5 steps in a little more detail of what I would recommend. When you join print school, the first step of research, you don't have to waste any time here, because when you join print school, I give you my research. You get my list of vetted printers that I have worked with to actually buy my planners. So you get my printer I've worked with for 7 years, and then you also get my printer that I've worked with for a full year. I don't give you any printing recommendations of somebody I have not ordered thousands of products from. And I've had printers that have, they are on the blacklist. I would never tell you to work with them at all. And so that's exciting, having the peace of mind. And I have built relationships with those printers. They give you a really great deal, and you get to work with them directly. I don't gatekeep. I'm not the middleman. I teach you how to talk to them. I teach you the vocabulary. I teach you how to request the quote, which is number 2. Asking for a specific quote. I give you my quote template. I give you the email, and I teach you the language of exactly how to do it. And I also walk you through the ideation process so that you're able to say, this is what I want. It's 187 pages. I know this because I've mapped it out with Polly. We map it out in your index file, and you're able to fully know what you're building so you can talk to the printer well, because that's where everything gets lost in translation, right? I get CC'd on your emails with the printer in the program, so that way I can step in if you want to tag me in and say, Polly, I don't know what they're talking about. I step in and help you, which that's a really fun part of the process of print school. And I love that. And I wish someone did that for me when I was starting out. So step 3 is get your sample made. In order to get your sample made, you have to have your art files done, okay? You have to have all of the stuff inside for them to print it. And that's what print school gives you. It gives you the tools you need to actually get your design done, get your cover art done. We actually give you design training if you want to DIY your design. All of that training is in there, and templates. If you want a done for you option, I have designers in the program that you can reach out to, partner with, that I've hired personally to design things at Horacio Printing. So you get access to my preferred partners for product design, also for website design, and social media and like launch graphics and all of that. So I give you my people that you can have. So that's an incredible time saver. Now, what my gift to you is, in print school, I actually pay for your first sample. I take my money and I put my credit card down to pay for your first sample with our printer. So that's really exciting. That's just my gift to you. It's a bonus. Up to $200, I will pay for your sample. Most samples cost around $150 to $200. If you're getting some outrageously crazy product that has, 5 different books and all sorts of things, my gift to you is up to $200. There is a limit to it, but I pay for your first sample, which is super fun. Now, the 4th step to printing your thing is the going back and forth with the printer. And this can be tricky. Things can get lost in translation. And that's why I give you my method of how to share feedback clearly so that no detail is missed, and we clarify and verify everything before the mass order is printed. You can, as a student in print school, you can reach out via email to our support team, which is me and my team. You can reach out in our private Facebook community for just print school students, which is super fun. That's a great place for you to like share your journey. You can share like what you're working on. You can get the group to like vote. It's a great place of like candle flame fanners. You know what I mean? Like people that are gonna encourage you on your dream, because there's so many candle blower outers out there. I don't know if you're related to any, but this is a place where people really like continue to like cheerlead for each other, which I love. And then we have 2 monthly group coaching calls where you can ask your questions, and that's where I can help you as well. And then the 5th step is ordering your mass order. And I teach you how to do this inside of print school. How many to order? How many should I order, Polly? We go through that. How do I market it? How do I do a pre-order campaign? And I even give you my warehouse so that you can get it fulfilled properly. So you don't have to do all the shipping from your house unless you want to. I teach you the 3 options. I teach you Amazon, fulfilling out of your home, and the warehouse. So you get to choose which way you want to do it. But all of that is inside of print school. And I would just love to welcome you into the program. I know some of you watching were like, just tell me your printer. I want to know your printer. And I get it. But that is something that I spent years and a lot of work building my relationship with my printer. And so that's something I'm only comfortable sharing with students. And it's not just that I want to gatekeep that at all, I promise you. I also want to teach you how to talk to the printer so that you get what you want. Because you could still get my printer and totally not get what you want if you don't know the language, if you don't know how it works. And also, I want to make sure you're not just printing something, but you're successfully marketing it. So I would love to see you inside of print school. You can go to horacioprinting.com/print school to apply. It is an application-based program, but don't be afraid to apply. I cannot wait to see your application roll through. You can also ask questions in the application if there's something specific you want to know. Also, feel free to drop some questions down here in the comments. I would love to connect with you on YouTube, or if you're listening on the podcast, you can drop it into the comments there too. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. If you want to, I have a free workshop. You can take the next step and watch a free workshop at horacioprinting.com/workshop. The next iteration of this series is coming out next week, and it's all about design. So we're going to talk about design, what design mistakes you don't want to make, and how to properly design a planner. So I'm going to talk all about that next week. Make sure you subscribe and like, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.